At the far edge of British India, where Burma, Tibet, and Assam meet, lay a hidden mountain frontier, glaciers, forbidden passes, and villages cut off from the world. In 1930, two explorers set out to cross it. One of the least known mountain ranges of the Indian border lay where Assam, Burma, and Tibet met, forming the divide between the Lohit Brahmaputra and the upper Irrawaddy. Though only its southern end was in British Indian territory, farther north, it blocked what was virtually the only route into India between Burma and Tibet. Its ridges seemed to run north and south, though farther north, the rivers and ranges turned east and west, showing that appearances were deceptive and that this divide belonged to the newer Himalayan uplift. The Lohit-Irrawaddy divide stretched from the source of the Irrawaddy in latitude 28°30 north to about 25°30, before splitting into the Patkoy and Kumaon ranges. Along its 70 miles it was crossed by 5 passes, the Harpungan, Kumjong, Divhukla, Shorila, and Zashala, with peaks rising from 12,000 feet in the south to over 19,000 feet farther north. It was to explore this region again that Lord Cranbrook and Kingdon-Ward went to Upper Burma in 1930-31. Ward had crossed the Divhukla in 1926, but they now intended to push farther north, collecting fauna and flora at the sources of the Irrawaddy and tracing the limits of the old ice sheet. They arrived in Burma in November 1930 and left Myitkyina, the railhead, on the 26th, reaching Fort Hertz by mule transport on December 16th after 214 miles. The first half of the road was fit for carts and even motor vehicles, though heavy rain quickly rendered it impassable. To Fort Hertz, the journey by mule cost was $30 per animal, each carrying only 120 pounds in 19 days. After halting at Fort Hertz, they set out northeast for the Tamay Valley, the second largest branch of the eastern Irrawaddy, 9 short but steep stages away. Owing to a Chinese embargo on mule use east of the Myitkyina-Fort Hertz road, they relied on coolies, though Shan State mules might have been available at greater cost. Supplies were scarce along the way. Only a few Chinese shops offered old tins and kerosene, while Fort Hertz itself had rice and some tinned foods. Beyond Nogmung, 4 marches out, nothing could be obtained, nor in the Tamay Valley itself. They reached the Tamay on January 7, 1931, the Sengku confluence on January 25th, and Tahondam, the last village in Burma, on February 5th, though their 70 loads did not all arrive until the 12th. Movement was restricted by weather. In the rains, travel was impossible below 10,000 feet, and above that altitude, snow-blocked passes between December and May. Tahondam, at 6,000 feet, was Tibetan in character, surrounded by 15,000-foot snow peaks. The Adung Valley here supported cattle, half-breed yak, sheep, and goats, indicating a temperate climate. The villages, numbering only about 500 in all the valley, practiced permanent cultivation and grazing, unlike the shifting agriculture of the Daru. Assembling coolies was difficult, rarely more than 10 at a time, often half-starved, and future explorers were advised to dump rice in advance. From May, they moved up valley, reaching 8,000 feet. Then in June, an alpine camp at 12,000 feet, 3 hours below the Namni La, where they stayed for the summer. In September, they crossed the Namni La, which lay between the Tamay and Taron headwaters. On either side, they saw glaciers, hanging or corrie, 6 in all, with snow beds scattered about. These were not the southernmost glaciers of Burma, which ended at about the 28th parallel. The Tibetans of Tahondam supplied milk and butter until May, when the animals went to high pastures. They also traded samba, corn, peas, pork, chickens, and hunted with dogs and guns, unlike the Daru, who used poisoned arrows and snares. Wild honey from rhododendrons, sometimes poisonous, caused Cranbrook to fall into a trance and made 2 servants ill, though Ward escaped. They also ate bamboo shoots, orange fungus from fir trees, and a mild alpine garlic, relying on small game and pheasants when larger animals failed. In July, Tibetan diggers came seeking Paimu bulbs of fritillaria, controlled by a wealthy Salween family. Ward allowed them to dig in exchange for escort over the pass, but the escort abandoned them after 3 days at Jait, a poor village of 3 or 4 houses at over 10,000 feet. The party reached Jait on September 4th. The climate was harsher and drier, the valley forested with juniper, fir, birch, maple, and oaks, and grazing abundant. The people were wary, fearing their officials, but sold them samba, butter, potatoes, and turnips. Officials and priests shunned them, and Ward feared abandonment, even sending a Daru messenger for rescue who never acted. After 20 days, the Tibetans brought ponies and escorted them back. They recrossed the Namni La in rain, wind, and mist, then were stranded until Cranbrook volunteered to fetch help from Tahondam. He succeeded in 5 days, while Ward remained collecting seeds. In November, they returned to the village, and by December were back at Fort Hertz. They reached Myitkyina on New Year's Day, 1932, ending an absence of just over 13 months. The expedition yielded excellent natural history results, including new species of birds, mammals, insects, and plants. Though geographically they advanced less than hoped, they proved the importance of reliable coolies and speed in such country. Still, they made valuable glacial observations and discovered a route directly connecting Burma with Tibet, judging the Dipakla the better of the 2 passes.